Hello and welcome to Auspol Explained. I'm your host David and I'm here to help you figure out who you would like to vote for. Today's topic is housing. I'm going to be comparing the different housing policies of 4 different political parties. So the Liberal National Coalition, Labour, Greens, and then One Nation. So we have our 2 major parties and then we have a left-wing option and a right-wing option. There are of course many different political parties. There are actually quite a lot, so I encourage you to look at them as well. But hey, this is a good starting point to help you understand, hey, what's up with the different political parties, what are they promising, and how will they help me get a house? I won't tell you who to vote for, that is entirely up to you, and I also will not be commenting on whether or not these are good ideas or not. That is again up to you to decide whether or not this resonates with you. First up, the coalition of the Liberals and Nationals. Basically, their plan is to expand their existing programs and add a regional home buyers scheme. They want to increase the cap for the low deposit scheme to 35,000 people a year to buy a house with 2 to 5% deposit. This would also get rid of the added expense of a lender's mortgage insurance. So the house doesn't cost less, but the barrier for entry for getting a loan is significantly lower for some people. However, it will in the long term mean more in interest repayments. It's available to people earning up to $125,000 a year or $200,000 combined for couples. It only applies to houses under a certain value, but they are promising to increase those price caps. So for example, the scheme currently covers a house worth $350,000 in regional South Australia, which will increase to $450,000. The price cap will then become $750,000 in the ACT and $900,000 in Sydney. They also promise a new low deposit scheme for 10,000 people in regional areas, which isn't limited to first home buyers. They also promise an additional $2 billion in low-cost and affordable housing, supporting around 27,500 homes. Labour's plan, on the other hand, is focused on 3 points: reducing cost, increasing supply, and creating jobs in the process. They also have a low deposit scheme to help 10,000 people buy homes in regional communities, which is very similar to the Liberal plan, though it is limited to just first home buyers. They have recently unveiled their Help to Buy scheme, which will cut the cost of a house by up to 40% for 10,000 homes a year, where if you can pay a 2% deposit, the government will provide the remaining 40% for new houses or 30% of an already existing house and reduce the mortgage repayments. So the government would have a shared equity in the house, which you don't pay rent on, and if you wish, you can gradually repay that 30 to 40% to have full ownership after you pay off the bank. So either you save a lot of money on the house or you pay it back in full, up to you. This would then generate a return of income for the government, because if you don't pay back the full equity of that house, they get a share of the capital gains when you then sell the property. But as houses naturally appreciate in value over time, even if you don't repay that equity, you and the government can both make money off the sale of the house. It also comes with a price cap for what properties this scheme will apply to. So you'd only be able to use it to buy homes that are worth $950,000 in Sydney. However, because of that shared equity, the mortgage repayments on that house would be around $1,600 cheaper a month to repay. And in Queensland, where the price cap is $500,000, that would be around $850 cheaper per month to repay that mortgage. Similar schemes already operate in Western Australia and Victoria, as well as the UK. To qualify, you'd need to be earning less than $90,000 for individuals or $120,000 for couples. So it won't help investors, it is aimed only at low and middle income earners. You also won't pay lenders' mortgage insurance, which can be between $10,000 and $31,000. This will cost the government around $329 million over the next 3 years. However, they also plan to double foreign investment fees and financial penalties to raise $445 million. Labor also plans on spending $10 billion to build 30,000 public houses over the next 5 years, with 400,000 of those dedicated to women and children fleeing domestic violence and older women at risk of homelessness. 10,000 affordable houses will be for frontline workers like police, nurses, and cleaners. This is estimated to create 21,500 full-time jobs in the construction industry and elsewhere. Labor also wants to establish a national housing supply and affordability council to consult with states and territories on land supply targets, advise on better land use, report rental affordability and homelessness issues, and research ways to improve affordability. Labor also wishes to tackle poor living conditions in Aboriginal remote communities with $100 million on urgent housing and essential infrastructure in the Northern Territory, as well as $200 million for repair, maintenance, and improving remote housing in WA, South Australia, Queensland, and the Northern Territory. And next up is the Greens Housing Plan. Their plan involves building 1 million new homes over the next 20 years. So for a comparable time frame to Labor and Liberals' plan, that would be 250,000 new homes over the next 5 years. They also have a shared equity scheme, like Labor, but it's a little bit different. So the Greens plan is for 125,000 homes to be built just for first home buyers and make sure they only cost $300,000. They'll be built to certain quality standards and people will only need to put down a 10% deposit. You would then pay back up to 75% of the house, and when you leave, you would sell it back to the Federal Housing Trust, which is a body the Greens want to establish to manage the construction and managing of these affordable properties. They also want 125,000 universal access rentals, where the rent is capped to 25% of the renter's income or market rent, whichever is lower. The government would own these houses, so it would be able to regulate the rent prices instead of having individual houses go up when a private landlord decides to do so. Their plan is to directly create 45,000 new ongoing jobs in construction and services and indirectly create 90,000 new ongoing jobs in tangential industries. They also want to get rid of tax breaks for property developers and speculators to tackle the constant increase in price houses on the market. And finally, they want to invest $7 billion to states and territories over the next 10 years to improve and upgrade existing public housing. And let's go to One Nation. Their plan is pretty straightforward. They want to increase domestic supply of housing by banning foreign ownership outright, with a 12 months grace period for foreign owners to sell their properties. And in line with other policies with One Nation, they also want to heavily reduce immigration. And there you have it. I hope this has been helpful for helping you understand the different political parties and what they are promising. There is, of course, plenty of other different political parties out there. If none of these ideas particularly resonate with you, I encourage you to look at many of the other options available to you. And share this. It's a little bit time sensitive because the election is in less than 2 weeks. So please help other people become more informed before they cast their vote. And thank you so much to my Patreon supporters who are admittedly not my main source of income, but hey, just a little bit chipping in is helping me afford my housing. I hope you've enjoyed this and best of luck at the polls. Enjoy writing down all your preferences, all of them. Please fill out your ballots properly. Thank you so much and I will see you at the polls.